before I am working in Bangalore, sir, into the UB group into sales domain.
Okay.
But I want to shift into career into IT domains. That's the reason I am here today. One thing actually, I am working into completely non-technical background from past 6-7 years, sir. I am working into complete non-technical background.
Yeah.
What I am asking to that, because right now I am into 13 LPS for annum, sir. 13 LPS, sir. 13.
Okay.
Actually, I'm working into UB Group, United Beverages, Vijay Malia.
Okay.
I'm working into as an area sales manager for Bangalore urban operations.
Okay.
Into the alcoholic and non-alcoholic brands.
Okay.
So I want to shift it into these sales to the conversion into IT side, because I am the MBA graduate. I mean BSc Biotechnology. From 2015 to I am continually working in this non-technical background, sales and marketing and operations, different e-commerce sites, e-commerce companies. So, but actually, then there is a lot of in future scope. I need to shift into career into IT domains. That is the reason I want to shift into IT sector, sir.
Okay.
Because of what? Because right now I'm into 13 BA, but I have the 6-7 years experience in that particular field. So I'm questioning to me when this is suitable or not.
It will suitable, guy. It will suitable, man. So I will tell. I will guide what you need to do. I will guide. Right. So after this class, we will discuss. I will guide. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
See guys, see here duration of the course is 3 months, guys. In these 3 months we are going to talk all these things. Next, daily live classes are available from Monday to Saturday. Next, guys, daily class notes I will share. Daily class notes I will provide. Right. So next, daily class recordings. Daily class recordings also available. Next, please mute. Class recordings also available, but with 3 months access, guys. Recordings only 3 months you guys can able to access. 3 months only you guys can able to access the recordings. Only 3 months access is available, guys. Right, guys? This is the course details, guys. Guys, please have a look into this once again. Right here, I have given brief introduction about myself. Right. So this is the prerequisites to attend for this course. What are the prerequisites? Linux basics. Right. If you have, right, good to have, guys. This is not mandatory. Good to have. Even if you guys don't know the Linux also, no problem. Here we are going to discuss Linux also. We are going to discuss Linux also. If you have, it is very good. See guys, if you have Linux, that is very good. Even if you don't know also, no problem. I am going to cover Linux and shell scripting also. And here I have divided the course into 7 parts. And as part 1, we are going to discuss introduction of the DevOps. Introduction of the DevOps. In this introduction part, what we are going to learn, guys? What we are going to learn in this introduction part? Here we are going to discuss what is DevOps. What is DevOps? Next, DevOps life cycle. DevOps life cycle. DevOps life cycle. Next, what is SDLC? What is SDLC? Software development life cycle. Right here, what methodologies are available? Methodologies in SDLC. Right. Next here, waterfall methodology. What is waterfall methodology? Right. So next, what is agile methodology? Right. The differences between waterfall and agile. Right. All these things we are going to discuss in part 1, guys. In part 1, we are going to discuss all these things. What is DevOps? Why DevOps? Why DevOps? DevOps life cycle. What is SDLC? Methodologies in SDLC. Waterfall methodology, Agile methodology, differences between waterfall and Agile methodology. Right? All these things we are going to discuss in part 1 only. Part 1 is what, guys? Introduction of the DevOps. Once this part 1 is completed, we will go to part 2. In part 2, what we are going to discuss, guys? In part 2, what we are going to discuss? Linux operating system and shell scripting. What is this Linux? Linux is a operating system. So here I will talk about what is operating system first. What is operating system? What is operating system? What is the difference between Windows operating system and Linux operating system? What is the difference between Windows and Linux operating systems? Difference between Windows and Linux operating systems. Right. First, what is operating system? Difference between Windows and Linux operating system. Next, Linux introduction and setup, guys. We need to set up the Linux. Linux introduction and Linux setup. And Linux setup. Next, we will talk about Linux commands. Linux commands, which we are going to discuss. Right. Once Linux commands is completed, we will talk about shell scripting. Shell scripting we are going to discuss. All these things we are going to discuss in part 2, guys. Right. We are going to spend minimum 8 days, 8 to 10 days we are going to spend on this part 2 only. Why? Because, right, for AWS and DevOps, for both, guys, DevOps and AWS, Linux is very, very important. Linux commands are very, very important. Everything we are going to do in Linux operating system only. We are not going to do anything in Windows operating system. Inside the AWS, we are going to create the Linux virtual machine and we are going to, right, work with that Linux virtual machines only. In Windows operating system, we are not going to do anything in our course. That's why Linux is very, very important for our course. That's why I'm going to spend, right, 10 days, around 10 days I'm going to spend on this part 2 only. Right, guys. Next here, right, part 3, AWS. I told, right, how many services we are going to discuss in AWS? Around 20 plus services we are going to discuss. AWS Cloud. AWS Cloud, we are going to discuss 20 plus services. What 20 plus services we are going to discuss? First, I'm going to talk about what is cloud computing. What is cloud computing? What advantages we have with this cloud computing? Advantages of cloud computing. Advantages of cloud computing. What is the difference between IaaS versus PaaS versus SaaS? Right, these things we are going to discuss. Right, after this, right, I will talk about introduction. Introduction of AWS. Introduction of AWS I will discuss. Next, I will show how to create the account in AWS. Account creation. Account creation I will show. Next, AWS services overview I will give. AWS services overview. Right, overview. Which service, which purpose we will use? What is the purpose of? Right, here we are going to learn 20 services. Right, what is the purpose of each and every service? That overview I will provide it here. Right, so once that overview is completed, right, next here I will talk about regions in AWS. Regions in AWS. Right, what regions are available? What regions are available in AWS we are going to discuss. Regions and availability zones. Availability zones. Regions and availability zones we will discuss. Next, I will talk about EC2. Very, 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 very important service. EC2 service. EC2 we are going to discuss. Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. As first service we are going to discuss. First service EC2 we are going to discuss. In this EC2, so by using EC2 service, what we will do, guys, we will create the virtual machines, Linux virtual machines, Windows virtual machines, whatever the virtual machines you want, we will create those virtual machines by using EC2 service. Right. Next, we will talk about AMI. AMI. AMI stands for what? Amazon Mission Image. AMI stands for Amazon Mission Image. AMI stands for Amazon Mission Image. If you want to create the any virtual mission, compulsory this image must be required. This image must be required to create the virtual mission. Without Amazon Mission Image, we can't able to create the virtual mission. That's why we need to talk about what is the AMI, right? How to create the custom AMIs, what AMIs AWS is providing, right? All those things we are going to discuss it. Right. So next we will talk about EBS. EBS stands for what? Elastic Block Storage. Elastic Block Storage. Right here, what we will do, guys? In EBS, we will create the volumes. Right, we will create the volumes. Whenever you are creating the EC2 instance, along with that EC2 instance, you will get one root volume. One root volume you will get. Right. In addition that, along with that root volume, you can create some additional volumes also. Right. How to create the additional volumes? How to attach the additional volume with the EC2 instance? How to detach the additional volume from the EC2 instance, right? How to take the backup of the volume. Backup of the volume is nothing but snapshot. Backup of the volume is nothing but snapshots. How to create the snapshots? What is the lifecycle manager of the snapshot? Everything we are going to discuss it here. Volumes, snapshots, and a lifecycle manager of the snapshot. Those things we are going to discuss in EBS. EBS stands for what? Elastic Block Store. Elastic Block Store. Right. Once EBS is completed, we are going to talk about load balancing. Load balancing we will discuss, guys. And here in real time, we will deploy the application in multiple servers. Not in single server, guys. If you take Gmail application, if you take Facebook application, if you take Amazon application, those applications are deployed in multiple servers, not in single server. Right? If you deploy the application in multiple servers, how you balance the load, how you will distribute the load with all those servers, we are going to discuss it here. Load balancing, distributing the load to multiple servers, we are going to discuss it here. Right? Next, after load balancing, we are going to talk about auto scaling. Auto scaling. Right? Based on the traffic, suddenly, automatically, I want to increase the number of servers. Right? Based on the traffic, I want to decrease the number of servers automatically. How that one we will call it as scale up and scale down. Scale up means what? Increasing the servers. Scale down means what? Decreasing the servers automatically. How we will do that? We are going to discuss in auto scaling. Guys, please have a look into this. Please have a look into this, guys. First, we will talk about what is cloud computing, advantages of the cloud computing, right? What is the difference between IaaS, PaaS, SaaS? Infrastructure as a service. IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service. PaaS stands for platform as a service. SaaS stands for software as a service. Cloud providers are providing all these things. Cloud providers are providing infrastructures. Cloud providers are providing platforms. Cloud providers are providing softwares also as service. Right? What is the difference between IaaS, PaaS, SaaS? If you go for IaaS, what cloud providers will provide and what you need to take care. If you go with PaaS, what cloud provider will provide, what you need to take care. If you go with SaaS, what cloud provider will provide, what you need to take care. All those things we are going to discuss it here. Right. Next, we will talk about introduction of the AWS. What is AWS? why we need to go for AWS? Right, before AWS, what people right use it to work? Right, those things we are going to discuss in introduction of AWS. Next here, account creation. If you want to use AWS, compulsory, you guys should have the account in AWS. How to create that AWS account we are going to discuss. Right, next, right, we are going to discuss 20 plus services. Here, I will give the overview of those 20 plus services. Right, next we are going to talk about regions in AWS. Right, in AWS, we have several regions are available. Right, under regions, we have multiple availability zones are available. What is the regions? How many regions are available in AWS? What is availability zones? How many availability zones are available? What are the upcoming availability zones? What are the upcoming regions? Everything we are going to discuss. Next, EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud, right, as the first service we are going to discuss. Right, see here, by using this EC2, we will create the virtual machine. Next, we will talk about AMI, EBS, load balancing, auto scaling we will discuss. Once auto scaling is completed, next we will talk about Route 53. Route 53 we will discuss. Route 53. What is this Route 53, guys? What is this Route 53? By using this Route 53, we can beautify the URLs, guys. We can beautify the URLs. We need to create the domain names, guys. We need to purchase the domain names, and we are going to map that domain names with that, right? So that URLs, guys. That URLs we are going to map. See, guys, here www.gmail.com. Right? See how much beautiful that is. Right? Instead of that, if you give very large email, a large URL, people can able to remember that. They can't able to remember. That's why that actual URLs we need to beautify, guys. For that, we are going to discuss Route 53. Route 53, we are going to discuss it here. After this Route 53, I will talk about S3 bucket. S3 bucket, guys. It is unlimited storage device. S3 bucket. It is unlimited storage device. This S3 bucket we will discuss. Right. Once S3 bucket is completed, next we will talk about RDS. RDS means what? Relational database. Relational database. Relational database I am going to discuss. Once this relational database is completed, I am going to talk about DynamoDB. DynamoDB. Right, RDS and DynamoDB both are databases, guys. Both are databases. RDS is sequential databases, structural database, relational database. DynamoDB is non-structural database. Non-structural database, guys. What is the structural database? What is the non-structural database? We'll discuss, guys. What is structural database? What is non-structural database? We will discuss it here. RDS, DynamoDB. Once this DynamoDB is completed, next we will talk about, right, Lightsail. Next we will talk about Lightsail. Lightsail. Right, I will give overview, guys. Here AWS services overview. I will give overview in that case. First, let me mention all the course content at here. Right, next here VPS. This is very important service, guys. VPC. In entire AWS course, this VPC is very important and lengthy also. Virtual private cloud. Virtual private cloud. I want my own private network. I want my private own network. Then we need to go for VPC. VPC stands for what? Virtual private cloud. Virtual private cloud. Right. After this VPC, I will talk about the CloudWatch. For monitoring purpose, we will use this CloudWatch. CloudWatch. Right. For monitoring purpose, I want to monitor how application is running. I want to monitor how servers are running. For that, we are going to discuss CloudWatch. Next, I am going to talk about CloudFormation. CloudFormation. Right, what is this CloudFormation? By using this CloudFormation, we are going to create the infrastructure. Right, see, guys, here by using EC2 also we are going to create infrastructure only. But in EC2 we are going to use GUI. graphical user interface. Through GUI, we are creating the infrastructure. But by using cloud formation, we are going to write some code to create the infrastructure. We are going to write some code, right, to create the infrastructure. That's why we will call it as IAC. IAC. IAC stands for what? Infrastructure as code. Infrastructure as code. By writing the code, I want to create the infrastructure. For that, we are going to discuss cloud formation. We are going to discuss cloud formation, guys. If you go with EC2, through GUI, you will create the infrastructure. If you go with cloud formation, through code, you are going to create the infrastructure. Okay, right. So next, after cloud formation, right, I'm going to talk about SQS. 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 SQS stands for what? Queue services. Queue services. SQS stands for what? Queue services. Right. So after this, we are going to talk about SES. SES. SES stands for what? Email services. Email services. Email services. Email services. Next, SNS. SNS stands for what? Notification services. SNS. Notification services. Notification services. Next, I will talk about ECS. ECS. ECS I am going to discuss. ECS stands for what? Elastic Container Services. Elastic Container Services. Elastic Container Services. Right. So after this, I am going to discuss some billing informations. Billing information. Billing information. How AWS will charge. How the AWS will charge. Right. If any bill got generated, how waive off our bill. How to waive off our bill. Right. So all those things we are going to discuss in billing information. Right, guys. Etc. Etc. Like this. All these things we are going to discuss in part 3 only, guys. All these things we are going to discuss in part 3. Right. 1 month is required to discuss all these things, guys. 1 month is required, right, to discuss all these things. Is it clear, guys, what we are going to discuss in AWS? Right, guys. Once AWS is completed, right, in part 4. In part 4, what we are going to discuss? Introduction of the DevOps tools we are going to discuss. Right, introduction of the DevOps tools. In part 4, first we are going to discuss introduction. Introduction of the DevOps tools. DevOps tools. Right, I will give brief introduction about all the DevOps tools. Right, next, right, job of DevOps engineer. Right, as a DevOps engineer, what you need to do in the companies. Job of DevOps engineer. Job of DevOps engineer. As a DevOps engineer, what is our roles and responsibilities in the company? Right. So next I will talk about Maven, guys. Maven I will discuss. Right. As a build tool, we are going to discuss Maven here. Right. So once Maven is completed, we are going to talk about GitHub. GitHub is a remote repository. GitHub is a remote repository. That GitHub we are going to discuss. Once GitHub is completed, we are going to talk about Jenkins. Jenkins, guys. Right, Jenkins CI/CD process, everything we are going to discuss. CI/CD pipelines. CI/CD pipeline, everything we are going to discuss it here. Once Jenkins is completed, next we will talk about Ansible. Right. Okay, before Ansible, we will talk Sonar also. Sonar Cube we will discuss. Sonar Cube we will discuss. Right here, Tomcat also we are going to discuss. Tomcat also we are going to discuss. Next here, I will talk about Ansible. Ansible, I will talk. Ansible, before Ansible, I will talk. Before Ansible, I will talk Terraform. Terraform, I will discuss, guys. Right after Terraform, Ansible, I will discuss. After Terraform, Ansible, I will discuss. Right, once Ansible is completed, what is this Terraform, guys? Terraform also IAC only. IAC only, infrastructure as code. By using Terraform also, we are going to create the infrastructure only. By using cloud formation also, we are going to create the infrastructure only. In interview, there may be a chance to ask the question, what is the difference between Terraform and cloud formation? What is the difference between Terraform and cloud formation? By using cloud formation, we can create the infrastructure only in AWS. Only in AWS, guys. By using cloud formation, we can create the infrastructure only in AWS. But by using Terraform, we can create the infrastructure in any cloud platform, guys. In any cloud platform. We have several cloud platforms are available. AWS is available, Azure is available, GCP is available, Salesforce is available, Anaconda Cloud is available. Like this, so several cloud platforms are available. Everywhere we can able to create the infrastructure by using Terraform. But by using cloud formation only in AWS. That is the difference between cloud formation and Terraform. Okay, Ansible, guys, right? By using Ansible is a configuration management tool. By using Ansible, what we are doing, we are configuring the softwares in the machines. We are installing the softwares in the machines by using Ansible. Right? Before Ansible, people used to work with Chef and Puppet. Chef and Puppet. Right, but that both are Chef and Puppet both are outdated. Now people are using work with Ansible only. Right, guys, after Ansible, we are going to talk about very important tool, which is Docker. Docker we are going to discuss. After Docker, I will talk about Docker Swarm. Docker Swarm I will discuss. Right, so next in our entire course, in our entire DevOps tools, the most important tool is right, Kubernetes. Kubernetes, guys. Kubernetes, among all these DevOps tools, the difficult tool is Kubernetes only. Difficult tool is Kubernetes only. Right, we are going to discuss that Kubernetes at here. Right, in other institutes, just 2 to 3 days. Within 2 to 3 days, they are closing this Kubernetes. But here, I am going to spend right around 12 to 15 hours, 12 hours minimum 12 hours I am going to spend on this Kubernetes. In depth knowledge I can able to provide on the Kubernetes, guys. This Kubernetes is very important. Without having knowledge on the Kubernetes, don't attend for the interviews, guys. Right, the first question only they will ask in the Kubernetes. That much important, guys, Kubernetes, and that much difficult also Kubernetes. Okay. Right. So after Kubernetes, I'm going to talk about right these guys, ELK. I'm going to discuss, guys. Right here, right, these Logstash, right, Kibana, Elasticsearch, all these things will come under ELK. Right. Next here, I will talk about Grafana. Right, Prometheus, right, all these things we are going to discuss, etc. Right, all these DevOps tools we are going to discuss, guys. Right, 15 plus DevOps tools we are going to discuss at here. Right, once these DevOps tools are completed, I am going to discuss real-time projects. Right, so Spring Boot microservices, by using Java, Spring Boot and microservices we will develop. I have so many projects in my system. Right, so I will use those projects. I will use those projects to set up the infrastructure, to create the platform and everything we will do, guys. Everything I will show. Practically, I will show everything. How I am doing in my company, everything I am going to show you guys. Right? After this, I will conduct one session on resume preparation and I will provide the interview questions also. Tools wise, services wise, I will provide the interview guide. Right? At last, I am going to discuss Python scripting. Guys, I am not covering entire Python here, guys. I am not going to teach entire Python. If I want to teach entire Python, I need 2 months of the time, guys, only for Python. But I am not teaching entire Python. But what I am going to discuss and how much Python scripting is required for our DevOps. And up to that level, I am going to cover. Up to that level, I am going to cover, guys. I will take 10 hours. Around 10 hours I will spend on this Python scripting, guys. And that too, I'm going to discuss on Python only on weekends, guys. Our regular days, our regular sessions I'm not going to disturb. Only weekends I will discuss on Python scripting. Okay, guys. This is our course content. This is our course content, guys. Have you looked into this course content, guys? I have divided the course content into 7 parts. See, guys, first I have given brief introduction. A few people joined late, guys. See, I have given brief introduction about myself. Myself, Raju, I have 10 plus years of working experience. Currently, I am working as a senior technical specialist and as a teacher. And as a trainer, I have 7 plus years of experience. And currently, in my company, I am using these technologies, guys. Java, Spring Boot, microservices, Angular, DevOps, and AWS. In my current project, I am using all these things. Right? To attend for this course, what are the prerequisites, guys? Just the Linux basics. Right? Good to have Linux basics. Even if you don't have, also no problem. Here we are going to discuss Linux from basics, guys. Okay? Right. So part 1, I have divided the course into 7 parts, guys. In part 1, we are going to discuss introduction of the DevOps. In that introduction part, what we are going to discuss, all these things we are going to discuss. Right? In part 2, we are going to discuss Linux and shell scripting. Linux and shell scripting we are going to discuss. See, guys, what is operating system? What is the difference between Windows and Linux operating systems? Linux introduction and Linux setup, Linux commands, shell scripting, everything we are going to discuss. After this, right, part 3, AWS Cloud. 20 plus services we are going to discuss in AWS Cloud. 20 plus services we are going to discuss in AWS Cloud. Right, after this, part 4, after this part 4, we are going to discuss DevOps tools. How many tools we are learning? 15 plus DevOps tools we are going to learn. Yes, in this 15 tools, Kubernetes is very, very important and very, very difficult also. But here I am going to provide in-depth knowledge on the Kubernetes. In-depth knowledge I will provide on the Kubernetes, guys. Okay, so in part 5, we are going to discuss real-time project. In part 6, we are going to discuss interview. I will provide the interview guide and I will take one session on the resume preparation. In part 7, we are going to discuss Python scripting. This Python scripting I will discuss on weekends, guys. Weekends, I will talk about the Python scripting. Regular sessions, I am not going to disturb with this Python scripting, guys. That's why I am going to conduct a 10 hours session on weekends, guys, Saturdays and Sundays, and I will complete this Python scripting. Okay, course details, guys. Coming to course details. Right, duration of the course, 3 months, guys. In this 3 months, we are going to cover Linux, shell scripting, AWS, DevOps, Python scripting. Right, daily classes are available from Monday to Saturday. Daily class notes I will provide, guys. You guys not required to write any class notes. You guys are not required to write any running notes. For you guys, I am writing the notes. Right? Instead of you guys, I am preparing the notes. In front of you guys only, I will type each and everything on the notepad. Once our class is completed, I will share this notepad with you. Okay? Right? Daily class notes I will provide and class recordings also we will provide. 3 months access. Class recordings, 3 months access, guys. Okay? Daily class timings. Class timings, 8:30 to 9:30. 8:30 to 9:30, guys. Sometimes it will go up to 10 also. Up to 10 also it can go. Just here I am mentioning 8:30 to 9:30, but it will go up to 10 also. This is the class timings, guys. Okay. Now, if you guys have any questions, please ask your questions. So this is the course content which we are going to discuss in our session. In next 3 months, this is our plan of activities. Now you guys can ask your questions. Anyone have any questions? I'm unmuting, guys. If anyone have any questions, you guys can ask now. Guys, here to understand, to learn this DevOps with AWS, there is no dependency on the other technologies. That anyone can learn, anyone can attend, guys. Right? So mechanical students, civil background, anyone can come and attend for this course. There is no dependency on other technologies. But if you want to learn Java, compulsory some dependency is there on other technologies. But in DevOps with AWS, there is no such kind of dependency. Just the Linux basics are required. Even this Linux basics you guys don't know, no problem. Here I am going to discuss Linux also. Before starting AWS and DevOps only, I will talk about this Linux. That's why you guys not required to worry about the Linux, guys. Guys, right? In industry, for DevOps people, they are getting the salary minimum experience into 4 lakhs, guys. Experience into 4 lakhs, that is minimum, not maximum. Recently, one of my friend, he have 7 years of the, not 7 also completely, around 7 years of the experience. For 7 years, he got 36 lakhs package. Experience into 4 lakhs, definitely you guys will get. That is minimum, not maximum. Maximum is depends on your performance in the interview. Right. Someone are asking something. Please ask now.
Yeah, Amit here.
Yeah, hi Amit.
So, because if you are working another,
Guys, other people, please. I'm getting some background noise, guys. What Amit is asking, I'm not getting. Please. Yeah, Amit, go ahead.
yeah. So,
Amit, you are in mute.
okay. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if we are working on other technology now, okay, and once we complete this course, so we will be able to work in this DevOps, right?
Correct.
Without any issue.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's why here I told right after completing this course without any dependency on other people. Nowadays, what will happen? People are learning the course from other institutes. They are coming to me for support, guys. For support. Right here, without that dependency, you guys can work like 4 years experience candidates. So that much in-depth subject I am going to provide. That much confidence also you guys will get on the subject.
Okay, and means what if we give interview, so people may ask, right? Means what was your earlier technology where you was working, and now you're shifting into this DevOps like that. So there won't be any issue on that point as well, right?
No issue. Most of the people are doing that one now. Most of the people are switching from one technology to other technologies to DevOps nowadays.
Okay, got it. And the last point, you said that recordings will be available for that 3 months.
Yeah.
So, means what is it online? Means what we can watch or offline?
No. You can't able to download. Only in online only you can able to watch.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any other one have any questions? Other people have any questions, please?
Yeah, hi. This is Srini.
Hello. Yes, please, one by one. Other people, please mute. One by one, please. I'm getting background noise. Srinivasulu, you can ask.
Yes, Srini. Yeah, actually, sir, I'm actually the computer background of Windows, Windows servers. Actually, here, my doubt is where Linux and Shell script and Python script both are simultaneously we are it's the same it's working or
No, the thing is, to be honest, Python scripting is not mandatory. I'm not saying like without having Python scripting, you won't get the job. I'm not saying like that. But some companies are asking, do you have the knowledge on Python scripting?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I'm going to cover that Python scripting also. Right? By using Python scripting, we are going to write code. But Linux is commands. Right? In shell scripting, nowadays people are not using shell scripting. Most of the people are using Python scripting. So that's why I'm covering that Python scripting also. Here we have DevOps tools are there. Some of the activities DevOps tools can't able to perform. Right? Some of the, I suppose, in our Jenkins dashboard, I have 100 jobs are available. Right? We can't able to delete on all 100 jobs at a time. One by one, we need to delete in GUI side. Right? For that, they will ask to write a simple Python script, 4 to 5 lines of Python script to delete all 100 jobs at a time. We can write. At the same time, I have 100 Docker containers are available. In that 100 Docker containers, I have only 10 Tomcat containers are available. 10 Tomcat containers. Here we have Docker commands to delete all 100 Docker containers at a time, or any one container we can able to delete. But we don't have any command to delete all Tomcat containers. I don't know out of 100 how many Tomcat containers are there. I want to delete all Tomcat containers at a time. We don't have any specific Docker command. For that, we can write one small Python script to delete all Tomcat containers at a time. Right? Such cases, this Python scripting is going to help us. Right? Whatever the activities our Docker tools can't able to perform, our DevOps tools can't able to perform, those things we can able to perform by using Python scripting. Okay?
Got it.
Viresh, any questions?
Sir, the timings will be evening timing or morning timing, sir?
Evening. Oh, sorry, I forget to mention. Timing is evening, guys.
Evening, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. It will go up to 10 p.m. also.
10 p.m. also.
Mostly it will go, sir. Mostly it will go up to 10 p.m.
One more question, sir.
Yeah.
They're all cover up only 3 months. If in case is possible, getting one more month or one more days.
It won't go one more month, guys. Right. So if any festivals are there, why? Because Sankranti Pongal is coming, right, and Christmas is coming. Due to any festivals, if it get delay, right, next 10 days, I will try to cover within 3, right, in that 3 months time only. Right, if required, right, we will take the sessions on Saturday, Sundays more time, and we will try to finish it in 3 months only. Right, if any festivals are there, right, only in that case it will take 1 week or 10 days extra. That's it.
Okay, that's it. Actually, so the scripting level, right? The automation, this kind of, I think it take much time. That's why.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I'm telling. Right, Saturday, Sundays. Right, anyway, whenever I have free time, right, I will check with all of you guys. Right, if you guys are available, then we can take extra time and we can discuss. We can try to finish all this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions, please? Okay, guys. If you guys have no, Raju, any questions?
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Why don't we start AWS in the first?
Why don't we start?
AWS after the introduction of DevOps instead of Linux and shell scripting.
No. See guys,
Alright.
here in AWS, we are going to create the Linux virtual machines only. Right? If you want to connect with those Linux machines, if you want to install any softwares in that Linux machines, compulsory we should know the Linux commands. Right? We are going to work with
Okay.
AWS virtual machines by using Linux commands only. We can create the virtual machine through GUI. Guys, please 1 minute. Through create the virtual machines, Linux is not required. Through GUI, we can able to create. After creating the Linux machines, if you want to work with those virtual machines, we need Linux commands.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
How much cost is required for this course?
Fees and that information, Kalyan will share that. I'm not sure that Kalyan, that management team will share that fees details and all those things.
Sir, where we use DevOps, sir?
Right. So where we use this DevOps means for a deployment purpose. For deployment, right? Development is completed. Right? Developers will complete their job. Right? Once development is completed, right? So we need to deliver the project to client. We need to deploy the project into the servers. So their DevOps come into the picture, guys. Right. Developers will upload the code into the GitHub repository. From there, DevOps team needs to download the code. From there, DevOps team need to build the code, and DevOps team need to check the code quality, and DevOps team needs to deploy the code into the servers by using Jenkins. Right. Tomorrow's session I will show. Tomorrow's session I will draw the diagram and I will explain in detail where DevOps will come into the picture actually in the companies. Tomorrow I will show that, man. Don't worry. Tomorrow I will show where DevOps will come into the picture. Earlier people used it to do manually, guys. All these things people will do manually. If you go manually, it will take lot of time. It will take lot of time, guys. And right, huge resource also required to do manually. To avoid that problem, DevOps came into the picture. With this DevOps, what we are doing, whatever the manual process is there, that manual process we are automating by using this DevOps. Downloading the code from the GitHub repository, build that code and converting as a WAR file and check the code quality and deploy into the servers. This entire process we are going to automate by using DevOps tools. Earlier, people used it to do manually. For downloading, we need to put one team. Right? For building and packaging, separate team is required. For code quality checking, separate team is required. For deployment purpose, separate team is required. These many teams are required if you go with manually, guys. Right? What we are doing, we are avoiding this problem with DevOps tools. We are automating this entire process. How to automate this process, we will discuss. In tomorrow's session, I will draw the diagrams and I will show. Any other questions? You guys have no questions, I'm going to stop the session. Tomorrow we will connect at 8:30 again. Okay. Thank you, guys. I will share this notepad. Please go through this notepad once, guys, to get more clarity on the course content.
Hello, sir. Actually, I have doubt. Actually, this is Mahesh for sir. I am asking to one person in middle of the session.
Yeah.
Yes, but again,
But you asked, right? You have experience on other stream, right?
yeah, sir.
Yeah. So how much experience you have?
Yeah, now nearly 7 years experience, sir. 2016 to continuously I am working.
In same company you are working?
No, sir. I am working in Wipro. I am working in Tata. I am working in the UB Group.
Okay. So in your relieving letter and experience letters, what designation they are giving?
Yeah, in area sales manager position actually in Godrej, I am working in assistant manager role for sales and operations. Right now, I am working in UB Group as an area sales manager position.
Okay, so if they mentioned like that sales manager post, that experience we can't able to show it here.
Okay. What to do, sir?
Right. So here, so at least last 3 years, last 2 to 3 years, you need to show you worked as a DevOps engineer like that. You need to put some fake experience for last 2 to 3 years, and you need to
Yeah,
tell.
I, I got it, sir. Because of actually, I want to learn this. Why? Because I want to transform into career IT domains. So thing because that is into PF, and actually I pay the taxation and Form 16. How to do this all these things, sir?
So that we need to check properly. Why? Because recently, because of dual employments, right? People are,
Yeah,
whenever this due to this work from home, right? People are working in
yeah, I
multiple
know.
companies. Single person is working in multiple companies. Because of that
Projects, I
reason,
know.
they mixed it everything. They are checking PF
Moonlight,
account numbers, everything they are checking properly.
moonlight.
Yeah, because of this moonlight.
I know, sir.
Yeah, so right, so they make it very strict all these things. First, they are focusing on PF accounts only. Right. So if
Yes,
anybody is
then
working
PF.
on Moonlight, right, they can able to find out because of the PF accounts only.
But I am not. I am not working in the moonlights. I am
Even
working
if
into
you are
proper
not
sales.
working in the Moonlight also, there they can able to get to know how much salary you are getting based on your PF, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. If you have good package, that is fine. Right. Suppose if you
Yeah, I
have,
have good
right,
package.
you said for 7 years 13 lakhs something you said, right?
Yes,
Right. So right. So 7 years means in DevOps said minimum 30 lakhs you guys can able to get.
I know it, sir. That is the reason I am shifted
Right.
career.
Minimum 28 to 30 lakhs you can get from DevOps side if you put 7 years.
Yeah, yeah, I know it, sir. I know it, sir. Because into this is into core sales role.
Hmm.
So actually, this sales role as well as to the reporting is a high reporting. I am using the ULOOKUP and XLOOKUP and macros and different analytical tools here.
Simple.
This is
One thing you need to do. Your good name, please.
Maheshwara, sir. Maheshwara.
Maheshwara. Simple one thing we need to do, Maheshwara here. Right. Instead of going into MNC top MNC companies, right. Best. It is very best to go to, right. So these things, third party payroll companies are there, right? At
Yes,
least
sir.
1 or 2 year, if you go with the third party payroll companies, it is very better. They won't check all these things right properly, right? If you go with third party companies, third party payrolls.
Yes, sir.
Right, first 2 years at least. If you work with that third party payroll company, right, then it is very better. We can save.
Yeah. But actually, one person is told to me, sir, today actually in Bangalore. I am in Bangalore now. So one person is told to me, Mahesh, you can come office because I am go to for Q Spider and J Spider is there in institute. That is one person in Jayanagar Institute. They are directly actually they are giving to the into like SAP side and all those things. So I'm going to there, sir. I want to shift it into the IT domain, sir. Okay, Mahesh, you can pay the 2.5 lakhs for the 4 months. You will give the training, you will do the placements. There is no issue on that, like that, because
No,
they are
they are
asking the
telling
money.
like that. I'm also from Bangalore only. I know this J Spider, Q Spider, and all. So they will mainly they are focusing on Java side only, J Spider and all. Right. See here, but they won't show very big companies, startup kind of companies. They will show.
But whatever it may be, sir, they are directly tell to me. You can give the we can provide the very good package. There is no issue. We can pay the money 2.5 lakhs.
So one example I will give. In some company, right, one HR is doing this kind of activities in their company only. Right? So that person, that HR is talking with the technical team and they are managing the technical interviews and all those things. Right? That the right people are paying the amount to that HRs. Right? Recently, what happened?
Yes,
that persons are not performing well. That persons are not working properly. Right? Manager and
but
management, right, identified that person and they asked forcefully that how you came to this company. Right, who took the interviews, right? So in interview what questions they asked, everything they verified, and finally that person told, right, so I paid some amount to HR, right, without any interviews, right, I came into the company like that. Directly that person told to that management team. Now that HR and that guy, everything came out from the company.
because actually I know the sir, I'm working into the top MNCs like Wipro and Tata and Godrej. It's a UV group, but actually I'm working into different because I'm working with vice president. I'm working with even Godrej CEO also. I know the what is the management roles, what is the doing the business, how to do the business, how to talk to with the people's corporate people's. I know the very well communication. I can speak in the some use his languages, six five languages and international Arabic languages. I know very well Arabic. I'm already speaking to the Arabic also. But I have the very good communication. There is no thing like that. I have the very good communication. I have the very good education knowledge also.